Prosperity movement is officially launched.
There's an old friend that I once heard say something that touched my heart, and it began these words. Just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes, it will.
Prosperity movement is officially launched. May I remind us all that we are here to stay. We are not jumbie umbrellas. We are not popping up in society. We come, we have the energy, we have the ability. I'm grateful today as a woman. I can pioneer because I'm one of the women who don't see the sky as the limit, but no limitations to our lives. It is too often told to us, I am a product of feeling downtrodden. I'm a product of feeling that, listen, you can do. I'm a product of being around mighty and powerful men and women, and more so powerful men who would think that they could have mashed me to the ground to believe that my job is to fight and to stay in the trenches and to lift them up, to declare and fool people of what democracy and true democracy look like. We are true democracy. Democracy is you, me, and all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, the ALP movement, I want to make some things very clear, very clear. We are not funded. We have no big backers. Nobody can agitate and push money onto the table to the ALP. We are here for Guyana. We are here for a good change. And a good change speaks to integrity. All right? Corruption? No. So let's put our hands together. Today we are here. It is because of the woman on the pave. It's because of the woman selling at the market. It is because of the woman in the workplace. It's because of the security guard woman who is tired of being raped in a guard hut by a supervisor or a manager. It is because people like Mr. Henry, who was downtrodden and beaten into the mud and sneezing on Facebook for rescue. It is because of a Charmaine Archer sitting there with a second generation, a victim of human trafficking. Somebody asked Charmaine Archer just to stand as we see, because today she is proud to face this nation as a victim of human trafficking. We are here to be the voice of the voiceless. To stand and fight against violence and crime and wicked crimes against women, it just means that we are here to that good change and a better Guyana. Because when we end the violence and crime against women, we raise better sons. Because we raise the doctors and the lawyers and the presidents, and we raise the young men and all what you see happening in society. So I just want to put these things.
Welcome to another edition of Voice of the Diaspora. In studio with me today is a very special guest, leader of the ALP, the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity Party, Dr. Simona Broomes. Dr. Simona Broomes is a human rights activist, a women's rights fighter, and a woman who champions the fight for the liberation of the poor in Guyana. Today, this is a special opportunity to sit down and talk with the woman herself who has been in politics and in human rights work for a very long time. Dr. Simona Broomes, welcome to Voice of the Diaspora.
Thank you, Norman Brown. Thank you for having me. Thanks to your viewers. And I wish you well and wish all of us well at this time.
Thank you so much. I want to first say that this program appreciates that you have taken time out to sit down and speak to the diaspora and the Guyanese people at home. We thank you very much at the last minute that you would have taken time at the last minute to join this program, and it shows that you're on the ball, that you are ready to engage and to work, and whatever you will be doing, there will be no procrastination. It's very, very few leaders or guests that I can reach out to at the last minute and ask for an interview, and they're ready in less than an hour. And so we appreciate that you have to juggle your busy schedule, but you are here on Voice of the Diaspora. I understand this is the first program you probably would have gone on since you've launched your party. I am not sure, but I am honored, literally honored, to have you on here. Dr. Broomes, you have been a human rights fighter. You are a philanthropist. You have been in politics. You have been a minister of government. And you are a woman who works non-stop. And that is not to earn money for yourself, but the work that you do to help the poor, the work that you do to raise awareness, to highlight the plight of the downtrodden, even before your political party was launched. This is what identifies you. Let us begin by talking about the launch of your political party. If you can just say to our viewers, how did this all start? Did you wake up last week and decide? Tell us the name of your party, what day it was launched, and why you launched the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity Party.
Well, Norman, you're most welcome. And indeed, this is my first program for its appearance on any program after the launch. And the launching was on Saturday, the 1st of February. Um, Norman, and allow me at this time. It was all done. It's after when it was done, then I really realized that it was a day 35 years ago and my father passed away. But yes, it was launched on that. The name, like you're right, it's the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity. Um, After the 2020 election, I did send an email to the head of the list, who was Mr. David Granger, indicating to him that I was on the list but unavailable for any appointment. Meaning at that time, I was not going to go back into. I'm not going back into Parliament. I was going to really focus on business. I come from a business background, and I formed the foundation, the Broomes Foundation, because I love people. This is what I do all my life. This is who I am. And to really give back to the poor and take time and mingle rather than just dropping out of office and just disappear. And people was out there, Norman, you look at the ending of the last election and how people out there, they were so hopeless and confused and all of that. So I really wanted to make that sacrifice to be accessible also to people, the ordinary man, woman, boy, and girl, while I continue with my business. From then, observing and looking and going into communities and homes, individuals, Norman, things really, I must say that all along God was talking to me. But I'm doing what I'm doing because this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do. I discussed with my apostle and saying to him what the Lord was saying to me about the poor and the motherless and the fatherless. I'm out there day and night in different communities working along. And the voices of the people now, because I know what God is saying to me, but they're rising up more and saying that they're not going to vote. Um, they're dissatisfied, and you know it all. We moved into the local government election. I came out and give some support and really try to hold things and to say to people, listen, don't give up. And well, you look at what happened in the local government elections, situations out there with women, be it we got to go there and pick it or whatever. I'm out there, but it's been about a year ago. More and more, it was daunting on me, and I went to my Apostle Williams. The Lord sent me to him, and I was telling him, what I was going through, and he said, "Listen, you got to obey God." And more people started calling in. Long story short, one Friday, I think it was, a woman called me. She's Prophetess Royal, and she said, "Listen, this movement, I know you have to form a movement, and the time is now." And I said, "Okay, let's meet." We met, but from since and all the time, the Lord has been talking to me. We've been looking, my family. I had a meeting with my family, my kids, because I really want to thank them even at this time, and start to record what was really going on and what was coming to me and all of that. Um, and yeah, it went from there with 10 of us in my living room. We come together with logo, objectives, persons from overseas, novella. We form a little strategy, a little group, and we're putting all the ideas together out there in the community. We have application form and we started our membership. The first thing we did, by the way, was to find out what was the procedure at Gcom. And we did write Gcom to indicate to them that we are going to run in 2025 in the regional and national elections. Gcom responded. We sent our logo ahead, and Gcom informed us that it's after the election is being announced. Then they will put an ad in the papers that you can submit your logos, and they will get back to us as it relates to the logo. But from then, the work has started, and listening to people getting their ideas and their views, I said, you know what? Too many of our young people saying they're not going to vote. They lose hope, they lose trust, they lose confidence, and things like that. And when you look at the bulk in our population, we have a young voters population. So, we started to move through looking at those on the fence and persons pushing back and want to be apart from different regions. Persons started to talk about it, people calling in. And Norman, we build from there. When we build from there, and we meet with the force, got the force 100 members. Um, I went to the Critchlow Labour College and we rented a room there to have our force meeting. We had a meeting and everybody was there. Why are you part? What is it you want to see? And that interaction. So now we clustering ourselves more and more. And, it all keep moving and keep moving ahead faster than we all probably would have expected it to. And the membership growing from different parts of Guyana. I visit a few of the regions. And yeah, last year, be looking at the membership and, we said we're going to launch this in November, December. But then I said, no, it's Christmas time. And we look to launch it at the 1st of February, hence the launching. And that is what take place. And here we are. We are on the move at this time.
Dr. Simona Broomes here on Voice of the Diaspora. So many people are tuning in at the moment. Dr. Broomes, I want to talk to you about a few concerns that politicians and the general public have before we get into the gist of the vision um, your party holds for Guyana, because I think this is the essence of our discourse here today. How will your party serve the people of Guyana? What do you expect to happen in terms of change and so on? These are the things we want to hear from you. Uh, on behalf of your party. But before we go there, I have to ask you a few hard questions, and I know that you're capable of responding to those questions. Dr. Broomes, you have been a minister of government, a good minister. We understood then, and we know now, and so on. You have been connected to the people as a government minister under the coalition government. Many people felt that you were treated badly as a minister, and subsequently you were sidelined from the PNCR. You have continued your work. You have continued your work, regardless of all of that, among the grassroots, giving them help in the form of financial aid, um, and other things. You have been doing it on your own without asking for anything. Uh, when you sit down and analyze the move you just made, have you thought of how it will affect your previous party, your former party, the People's National Congress? Many people believe that you are not an ordinary contender. You're not someone who will just jump up and nobody thinks, like, nobody cares, nobody will, take seriously. You have, on the day of your launch, you are seen as a serious contender that can build your own constituencies. How do you feel about this move in the sense of fragmenting the People's National Congress, in the sense of creating a sort of division where others, maybe people from the PNC supporters, would just come across and join you, and that in itself may cause the PNC to be weakened and the PPP to be strengthened. I really want you to deal with that, because that is one of the concerns on a lot of pundits' mind and so on. And I'm happy to have you here to talk about it.
All right. Well, Norman, you talk about sideline. I mentioned to you that I did indicate to um, the leader of the list that I was unavailable. Um, I'm just a person. I'm not going to reflect or get into any of the conversations. I was a member of the People's National Congress Reform, um, and whatever and everything that I did and the time spent there, that was a part of the journey.
Yeah.
There's no ill will and malice or no looking back. Like a lot of wife in the sense of getting into the conflicts and who sideline who and all of that. That is not the spirit I'm operating in.
Mm.
I'm more focused on people and Guyana and the poor people who I was out there with, working and toiling and looking at their situations and hearing their voices. Now, the ALP movement and what we're all about, we cannot fragment the PNC. Yes, I was a member of the PNC. I served as a minister of government. I'm not the leader. And leadership has a lot to do with a lot of things. Instead, for me, my focus is on a lot of people say, Simone, why do? And I say, why should I not?
Okay.
It's about the persons like I'm talking about, Norman, who will not vote. Norman, we must not take things for granted. I think too long we use this word democracy very loosely. It is just like the days I want to go back, Barnum and Chetty Jagan formed a party. And it became a time that Barnum had to separate from Jerry Jagan. Hence, you get the PNC and you get the PPP. So this is nothing new. And people stage and time in their life, and like I'm saying, what God is saying to me is bigger than anybody else. And this is my purpose. This is what I have to do at this time. So people talk about splitting votes and taking away. For me, I think I know that the LP is a blessing. I want to stick to us, what we intend to do. We are a blessing because we bring hope to the hopeless. We bring that voice for the voiceless persons who just said, and some of them would pop up on the live to say, listen, I was not going to vote, but now saying, listen, I will vote. I want to be a part and I'm looking forward because together that good change that we can bring. Many persons would come up and they're going to say all kind of thing, but I think it's just time will tell. This ALP, the energy that we have and we're going out there with, we intend to hold all accountable, starting with ourselves, all accountable. So who will benefit in that sense is the Guyanese people, because you know what? Everybody must get up at this time. We're in a serious place as a nation. And all of us must get up at this time and work. If you're leaders and we love Guyana and we want a better Guyana, we want that good change, then we got to get up and serve the people, not to oppress the people, not to neglect the people and believe that this is long time. And when election time comes, people are going to say, oh, it's either PPP or PNC or AFC or WP or things like that. That time is gone. There's been a shift in Guyana's politics. There's been a shift in the thinking of right-minded Guyanese and our young people. And they are willing and ready at this time and at this generation to bring an end to that. Norman, we live in a period in time where your mother, if she's from a different political party, you don't want to be seen with her because of your job, be it private sector or in the public sector. Such level of fear. I mean, the poverty rises is out there. Just I was speaking about it yesterday morning and a policewoman complaining, a young lady complaining, the young girl from over the river. You send them to the system. There's no system that is taking care of women and girls. She went to the social protection. Hold on, and then we're gonna see what gonna happen to you, and so many different things. So we're in a period and a time where the system is failing us. Um, and like I said in presentation, is the women. We want to be better wives, better mother, so that we can have a better society. And when we talk about women, we're not talking about removing men. But when we come out here and we stand up, of course, the men will be better. We hear about mental health from one of the youngsters at the launching. And really and truly, we're just rising and with the young people of this country to be the voice for the voiceless and to hold all accountable to ensure that all of us come together and address this thing we're talking about poverty. Um, Norman, it's easy for one to sit down and because of that control and try to control people's mind. You know, when children are small, for example, you know, they don't see color. You look at they go to school, be it your Indian, your African, your Amerindian, you see the play, they love each other, they hug up and all of that. No, but in their homes and in different places, we inject this poison and this venom upon our young people. And here we are, generations after generations, and we're getting no place. We got a lot of wealth, we got few people, a lot of land, and yet we are not moving. I want to ask the question, persons talking about splitting, with all the money that is in this country, a lot of people, is your life better today? You know, we got to ask ourselves some serious questions. You're sitting there in the parliament and you're a party and you have a responsibility. I can't come to fragment anything. All the political parties has a responsibility to the people that vote and put them there. Are the people satisfied? You know, if people were satisfied, it is more dangerous for us to allow that, and that most of our population, the voting population, don't vote, than to allow for a movement that will cater for all, that will come to hold all accountable in ensuring that we are protected, our rights, that we develop, and while we build roads, some of them lasting or not, that the people, which is most important, that we build people, starting from a person to a family to a community, and by extension, this country. And I believe that the time to do this is now. Norman, I'm here to stay, and I'm here for a good change, and a good change for all Guyanese, regardless if you can see it now or not, regardless which political party, what is your religious background. It is a whole discussion I really want to have out here is about people. How the impact, how we going to be able to make that impact when we get into the parliament. We out here right now assembling,
Dr. Simona
reassembling.
Broomes there on Voice of the Diaspora, sounding very presidential early in the launch of our new political party, the Assembly for Liberty and Prosperity. Um, you said that regardless of the traditional politics, my words, what we have had over the years, the traditional leaders, check, the people are in the same condition. That's what you surmise, that the people are in the same condition. No one can disagree with that, whether they are from the traditional political parties or whether they are supporters of political parties. The people continue to suffer in a country that is so wealthy, so wealthy. Guyanese people are suffering. I want to talk to you about coalition politics, and I want to ask you the question as to whether, coming up to the elections, your party will be contesting the elections. You have said that publicly. Of course, I believe that you will be the presidential candidate. You have thousands of members, I understand, and I think that you have a significant amount of supporters in Guyana and across the diaspora. As I look at the thread of comments coming in, so many people, and judging from their names, they're young people, so many of them seem to be rooting for you. There's a lot of, enthusiasm in the things that they are saying, and that's a good sign. Uh, you will contest, your party will contest the 2025 national elections. I have to ask this question because it's something that a lot of people want to know. When smaller parties get into the race, new parties, and I want you to speak pointedly here, and I want you to be very, very frank here on this question. If you got a significant amount of votes, and you can have 2 or 3 seats in parliament, and the PPP ask you to coalesce with them, to join with them, to give them, come together with them, um, after the elections, or they approach you before the elections to coalesce. And the same for the People's National Congress and anyone else. Would you, does your party intend to coalesce at any point, or are you going it alone before and after the national elections?
Well, Norman, let me answer you straight right away. The LP is going to contest the elections alone. And there's no trick in election. I want to say this to people because you have to indicate before the election day if you're going to collate and who you're going to collate with. But in the context of how we look at coalition, I want to speak to that
Yeah.
because I said it at the launching and I want to say it now that the eyes will have it when the voice and the voices of the poor are being heard. When they're happy, that is the reason. That is why we are there. Listen, this is the driving force. So we get to the National Assembly run on seats. And I believe it is important at this time for Guyana. I think the Guyanese and the young people and the poor people and the constituency that we are pushing to get into that National Assembly where all is being held accountable. So you ain't just going, I'm not there because I want somebody to come and negotiate to give me seat. No, that's not why I'm here. That's not the sacrifice and why I'm making the sacrifice. I'm here to represent the voiceless, the poor, the working class people, the teacher, the vendor, listen, the security guard worker, the girl on Regent Street. We have a focus, Norman,
The downtrodden.
because a
I
lot of
understand
times,
that, and I'm
like,
sorry to cut you. I'm sorry to cut you, but for the sake of clarity, I just
yes,
want to repeat the question, Dr. Brooms.
yes,
Coalition. You said that you have to indicate whether you're going to coalesce
yeah,
before the elections. You said that.
yeah,
My question to
yes.
you is: Do does your party intend is your party open to coalition or not? The question here is, at the moment, you don't intend to, but coming down the line before the elections, when everything is fevered up and so on, is your
I
party
never,
open to coalescing? I want you
I
to
never
answer
said
that
I,
first
yeah,
before you
yeah.
go.
I never
go.
said I don't intend to. I said that the ALP movement will go into the election alone, alone. I answer that question very, very clear. The
So
word
so
intend to. So
intend to
it is
doesn't
very clear,
no,
very, very clear.
intend to doesn't mean it will. You intend to at this moment. That's a political answer. And I just want to
Yeah.
grasp from you whether you are another politician that will use semantics or whether you will be straight with the people. I think that you are a straight shooter. I honestly believe that based on what I know about you. So my question is this: it's either you intend to, or you don't intend to, or you will not.
I
So
said I
the
will not.
so your
I never said,
party,
I never used the word intend to. I'm not using, I said we will not.
so
So I,
you
I
will
never
not
used the word
coalesce.
intend to.
Your party will not coalesce with anyone.
No.
You're going it alone. Thank you very much for that. That is clear.
Yes.
Dr. Brooms has made it clear there that our party has will not. Whether
However, when we get to the parliament, Norman, I talk about the numbers in the parliament,
yeah.
and we have to sit down and a budget will come. I would love for for the voiceless to serve in a position like this. You just can't decide, we're going to spend money here, we're going to pay teachers this, we're going to do that over there. I want us to be in a place where you got to negotiate. So we all come for the best interest of the people. And I'm speaking people because a lot of times when you look at the budget, a lot of money you can talk about. We need roads, don't get me wrong. Infrastructure, we talk about a lot of stuff. But when it comes to the human being, when it comes to Guyanese people, as if you got to stitch in some places, some other place. So at that time, I want to make it clear. The eyes will have it from the ALP when the voice for the voiceless. and all of us and all the policies and the money that were put in place to fight and push back on poverty. We want to see an end to poverty. We don't have a big population, but we have a big country. And with the resources that we have, based on our geographics, based on our culture, people don't deserve to live in poverty. People don't deserve to have to use a plastic bag to stool and just discard of it
Yes.
somewhere. Listen to me, it must not happen. It must not happen, right? It is wicked for us to do something like that. It is wicked to see the level of homelessness.
Poverty,
It is wicked
poverty.
to see the level of drug use. It is wicked to see what is going on in the schools with our young people. It is wicked to see that our young people cannot have a job. It is wicked that we importing people to work on full jobs, and people are so hopeless in this country, Norman. No, no, no. I'm not making a sacrifice for that. I'm not making a sacrifice because I intend to just go and like I want some status quo. No, no, Norman. And then when you get there, you're fighting and people out there punishing. No, Norman. All of us must come and the public must hold us accountable. I want to see leaders serve people in this country that oppress. And that is why we are going into this election independent. Let's go and get the numbers and go into the National Assembly and serve people, Norman.
Dr. Broomes, you made the pores raise up on my skin. It doesn't happen often, but I want to say this to you. You've made it clear on this program. So it has dispelled all the views out there that people are trying to say that you're going to throw your party support behind Mohammed and join together, or behind the PPP, or behind somebody else. I think you have made it clear on this program, the first program since you launched your party. You have made it clear. So I think the views are now dispelled. Dr. Broomes said she will not be joining or coalescing with anybody. The ALP is going it alone into those elections. And so that is a clear position. That is a very,
Norman?
very clear position. Go ahead, Dr. Broomes.
Yes. Listen, the Bible teaches me that God honor his word above his name. Everybody got to get the house in order. Get your house in order. What is going on in this country? Listen, you said it. I'm out there working with these social issues, these social ills. And there's not one Norman, one matter that was brought. I ain't saying that it was not reported. I ain't saying that somebody didn't listen, but not one of the cases reported over the past 4 years that the lives of that woman, boy, or even baby that was changed. The young child that was burnt in his pants, he's still languishing somewhere in a state care. And while it was done by a stepfather, the mother still can't for a year. She told me, couldn't even get a visitation rights. You can't even fix that in order. Homes are being displaced. It's just ridiculous. And so when will it end? If we don't support the young people, if we don't support the generations to come, and we don't do it now, Norman, then we're in serious problem as a nation. Look what's going on the roadways. So it's bigger than myself. It's bigger than all of us. But you know what? It's a sacrifice that I'm going to make. Not all is going to agree. I understand that. But once Guyana win and the people win, then we win. And that is the bigger focus. It's not about who fighting for some party and power and this and that and that. It's that to be able to represent in truth, to take my energy, everything, and place it there for the people. And the people must lie down home and rest assured that you will be represented. It's bigger than the Simona Broomes. It's about all of us.
It's clear that your position is solid and that you are being genuine here on this program. I'm happy to see a politician that can straight shoot on programs where there's no question. Dr. Broomes, I noticed that at your launch, a few serious political figures attended. Is it that you sent out a special invite to the leader of the AFC and to Mr. Jaipal Sharma or Mr. Jaipal Sharma, or or that you sent out a general invite to all political leaders in Guyana?
Norman, I did send out invitation to most of the political leaders. I sent to the general secretary of the PVP. I sent to the leader of the PNC, the leader of the AFC, Jaipal Sharma, WPA, Dr. Hines. I don't know if he's in the country. Leaders of unions, NGOs, NGOs that deal with issues as it relates to women and girls, and persons that we notice dealing with similar issues as it relates to our objectives and vision and things like that. So there was no special invitation, and I just mentioned that, and I'm going to answer you every question very,
Mm,
very straight.
mm,
There was no special invitation to Nigel Huge. In fact, when I was going to receive the representative from the political division department of the U.S. Embassy, that is when I recognized Nigel Huge was in the hall. And somewhere around the third row or something, I said, "No, you can't do that. Thank you for coming." And I invited him to the front. Mr. Jail Paul Sharma sent a message and he said, "Listen, I'll be there even if I'm late." And the same time, the representative from the embassy walked in and he was seated, and then Jai Paul Sharma. So to answer your question, there was no special invitation, but we sent out invitations because for me, I think the way to go and where we heading as a people, we got to be more open. So, for example, if you're dealing with a matter, you come and you listen to our objectives and all of that, and you're from a different political party or NGO, and maybe who knows, we're looking for solution and what is best for Guyana.
yes.
It's not about one person. One person don't have the fix. But you can say, you know what, for example, with human trafficking and these issues to do with women and poverty, Broom's got some good idea. Let's talk. Let's have a discussion, as to what is the best fix. What should we do? Where the gaps are? You understand me? How can we fix this that people can benefit? And I'm keeping it very real and to the poor people.
You are keeping it very real on this
And so
program today.
we were open up to that, and we're still open to that. If the general secretary, who's the vice president of the PUP, walk in there and he listen to something and say, "Listen, we listen to you talk about girls and children and playing in green spaces or whatever, and we would like to meet with you." The diplomatic corps, some things that they would want to hear from us. We've been having meetings. We've met with the British High Commissioner. We met with the U.S. Ambassador. We met with the deputy for the EU because the head for EU is not here. And so there's no secret in this. And in fact, Norman, allow me to say that persons are joining the movement and the ALP based on one simple factor that they're coming, Miss Brooms. We don't want to be in no movement that collating. We want to go in there and to hold all accountable. I will not betray the confidence and the trust in these members that is signing on. So this is not just even a Brooms position. But look, yesterday, look, you see all these here? These are folders that came in. These are membership. All these here, right? With ID cards and everything online. And people are coming and getting on board for the simple reason. And we have to understand what is going on in this country for the simple reason. One, that we are not going to collate. I had to explain to Miss Jan Fortune. I said, "Listen." She said, "Somebody tell her, don't matter with Brooms. She can go and y'all not gonna know, and when you go and vote." I said, "You can't do that. You have to state before the election." So people peddling all kinds of different things. It's people coming together, and young people. Listen, this is the voices of the people. I'm only there that they're entrusting in me. They trust me to hold this. This is a mantle, this is an order from the membership, right? And so this is the way out. And Guyana will win. This is no threat. Guyana will win. We all, when we get into the parliament, we ain't gonna be held accountable. We can do our work. We going out there and look for persons, and the persons that we're looking for is not persons who saying that listen, I come in and vote with you because the intention is to collate. I want to make this point very, very clear.
Mm.
So from the application from the outset, the application for membership is based on a principle. Now, when we get to the parliament, Norman, oh, tell me, and we all got to sit down and negotiate, and then the eyes gonna have it. We don't have to lie and be open up.
Yeah.
Be it who get the majority or and sitting and is the president, because you could be a president and you got the majority in the parliament. But let us say Brooms get the presidency. I won't call no other name. Brooms in the race,
Mhm.
and then the other parties now they could hold Brooms accountable. This is what we want. So all the ideas put together. It's not no, you would just wake up this morning and feel the Durban Park must build and it build. Somebody else come and say, listen, Park must stay on rotten and Durban Park stay on rotten.
So you're
Right?
using your seats as a leverage to defend the
As if
poor and to
for the
for the
people of this
people.
nation, we gotta hold this country because poverty is growing. It's growing in this nation, Norman. And we cannot allow that the oil money in second pass, but what can happen to people? What happened to the generation coming? And what happened to the other set that is coming after? We can make that good change. We are no threat to anybody. We
Let,
are
let,
what is good for Guyana.
let's let, quickly, when you sent out those invitations, you said you sent it out to the leader opposition, to the trade union leaders or leader, and so on. Have you got any response from the leader of the opposition or the leader of the PNCR, the general secretary of the trade union congress, and those people? Quickly, have you got any? Did they say, "Oh, we are unavailable," and so on, or did you get anything coming from them, or were you
No.
ignored?
Apostle London, like I would call him,
Mm.
he got an invitation and he responded. He said, listen, I wish you well. He was unable and he stated the reasons, but he wishes well. And that is, I think he changed his name now. I call him Apostle London.
Apostle Eliakim.
Eli, right. He was the only person. Outside of that,
Nobody else.
nobody responded.
Dr. Brooms, let's talk about Gcom, because now you are a political leader, and you are, I presume, the presidential candidate of your party going into the next elections. Let's talk first about Gcom. You have been a leader that, before having your own party, you've been a proactive person. You've been a mobilizer. You have been a sort of stand-up kind of fighter for the poor. We see the situation at GCOM. I spoke to the AFC leader about whether mass protests will happen, peaceful mass protests will happen, to force the hand of GCOM to introduce biometrics on a clean voters list. Of course, politicians understand, and the Guyanese people understand, that regardless of what elections we go to, if it is not free, fair, and transparent, it doesn't make sense, because perhaps the PPP will win, and will win every time, because we are aware that the PPP has a stranglehold over GCOM and so on. I have said the modern sort of protest, not going down the streets across Guyana and so on, but to camp outside of GCOM, thousands, walk with your pots and your pans and your removable toilets and everything, your sound system, bring Magnum out there, music playing, but you are demanding that change. So, you are there. What are your thoughts on protests to force the hand of GCOM? What are your thoughts on protests in general to force the hand of any wrongs that are happening in society, for that to change?
All right. Well, let me answer two questions. One about Gcom and the other is about protests. Let me deal with Gcom. The ALP believes from the outset of getting into the 2025 elections, it does not cater, it's not transparent, it does not cater for a new movement or any other person. And that is why maybe we keep having these small parties. Not free, it is not fair. And I tell you why. For example, I mentioned earlier the GCOM, one of the things you have to write them, tell them you intend to run, your name of your party and all of that. You send a logo. GCOM, I don't know if that is law because, and I'm going to tell you why. You have to wait until the election is being announced, and GCOM will put out an advertisement, and then you will submit your logo. So, if for example, the president announced in July, I'm just pulling at or August, that we have elections in November, what time you have there as it relates to voters' education that people even know your symbol? Two, we send a letter to the chair of GCOM because we want to find out, get everything cleared up and what is law and what is not, because some things don't take constitutional reform. And GCOM, after reminding by phone call and several emails, took over 2 months or more. The CEO responded and said, listen, the chair, I'm responding on behalf of the chair. Can you say to us why or what you want to meet with the chairwoman for in the interest of time? I don't know there's a special job. I don't know that. But nevertheless, we responded and said why we want to reach with the chairwoman of GCOM. And Norman, I can tell you, up to now, this is since last year, not a word. So GCOM has been disrespectful, in my opinion. GCOM and Guyana system, I mean, no election process throughout the world. Maybe one that, you got challenges. But from the outset, I think it's a bad look, and this is not fetching baggage. What I'm saying here to you, we want to know from GCOM, and so we are going to GCOM because as it is, how the commission is set up, 3 from the government, 3 from the opposition, and Madam Chair makes her vote, that is final. How do we rely on credible information? There's no trust with GCOM. Is when sometimes the opposition say one thing, the government side say one thing, the chairwoman saying something else.
Something else, yeah.
So
Yeah.
even credible information and to bring trust, I believe that how GCOM, I don't know how it works around the world, but how GCOM out of parliament is behaved live, because what has been happening in this country for years and decades that relates to election, it should be more open and transparency as it relates to it. I believe if you have parties, whether you rate them small or not, they're contesting a part of the race. I don't believe we have to wait for constitutional reform to have persons even sitting to those meetings from the other parties so that they can benefit from truth in that room. So there's no effort yet, in my opinion, from GCOM to even build to elections and the works at GCOM. So I want to put that there.
Oh, but before you go
And
to the
so,
next point, now that you are a political leader, you have a registered political party, will you be writing GCOM to have a meeting with them to talk about free and fair and transparent elections, to talk about a clean voters list and biometrics?
definitely, and we did that already because GCOM already knew before the public that we get contesting the election. And we did that and we're going to do it again.
Okay, because
So
now you
after
have
the
the
launching,
party.
we are going to do that again to GCOM with GCOM because we don't want to fight with GCOM. But what we don't intend to do is that GCOM be it by their commissioners or the commit or the chair, to believe that, listen, you got a whole nation by the neck. And it's what you said as one person. You see the kind of status quo we got to start to shake up? That is wrong. Do I believe in protest? Protest? Yes, I believe in peaceful protest. I believe that peacefully we should be able to demonstrate, like all the years all over the world, to go to the public and to demonstrate our dissatisfaction as it relates to anything in this country.
Yeah.
Anything in this country. And more so, when you look at the approach from Gcom and how they're operating, like, we are final because of what you call this so-called words that politicians like to use, democracy. I don't know what is the, I don't know what kind of democracy we're talking about. So I disagree with that. Now, based on the outcome of the last election, Gcom themselves, Gcom put up a report, you know, all the observers put up a report, and a lot of recommendations was being made.
Mm.
Gcom of themselves said, listen, we got problems in this election, but we can declare a winner, and then you go to court. So Gcom know there's problems. Not we just beat around the bush. The government, the opposition, and everybody in this country know there's problems. Norman, we just had $100,000 madness cash grant. And it was said that because of transparency and accountability, listen, because of transparency and accountability, your ID card is not enough to verify that I am Simona Broomes. So you have to take that ID card and then they have to take your picture, to validate, because they want one body draw this money 2 times. So it tells me that people got more than one ID card. So there's no question as to if we got problems at Gcom. It is known, Norman. It is known. Norman, I thought you had me about 15 minutes, but
Will
I
your
want
will
to make
your
it one time
party
fat.
will your party the ALP be forced to say to GCOM after that meeting, if that meeting happens between your party and GCOM and nothing comes out of it, would your party be the first to lead a massive protest against GCOM to force GCOM's hand to acquiesce to biometrics and a clean voters list?
Well, I think I don't know about the first. I think there's have picketing there taking
I am
place.
talking about significant protests. I'm not talking about 100 people and 20 people. This program will not entertain
Well,
that as any.
no, but you said the first,
I
Norman.
respect the ordinary people that are
Yes.
not political leaders that are out there fighting, and the women that are doing their little there. I respect them. It means a lot. But I'm
Yes.
speaking to politicians right now, leaders of political party, and therefore,
Norman.
I understand. Before you
One,
answer
Norman, can you
that,
give me 2 seconds? If you could just cut me, let me just get
let's
something from this person here.
let's
Two
go let's
seconds, and
go
I sit
to
right back
let's
to you.
go to the
Two
song,
seconds.
and yes, let's go to a break
Yes.
and take it from
Yes.
there.
Thank you.
There's an old friend that I once heard say something that touched my heart, and it began this way. I was born by the river in a little tent, and just like that river, I've been running ever.
Welcome back, Dr. Brooms. Yeah, so we're taking it from there, based on the last question, or two questions that I asked you.
And Norman, so I mentioned, you have persons protesting. I want to go back a little to what I said earlier about inviting all to the launching of the
Mm,
ALP.
mm,
Because it is the responsibility of all of us as a people. It is the responsibility of all the leaders to demonstrate that while in the best interest of the public and this country, that we can have relationships, you can work in areas for a better Guyana, for that good change. So the ALP movement will sit down, and we have been having discussions about Gcom. We talk about our energy, and we will use our energy in every single area to bring about that good change for Guyana and Guyanese. If we gotta go and we gotta protest, if we gotta go in the rain, we gotta go in the sun. If it's nighttime, we gotta get candle. We gotta mobilize. This is a time, however, for all of us and for the young people, and we gotta stop making our young people cowards to come forward very peacefully when we have our discussions with the diplomatic community, all these matters and concerns we want to address, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame game and throw it here and throw it there and throw it there.
mm.
A new dawn is upon us. A new day is before us. And all of us, we must humble ourselves as leaders and serve the people of this country so that Guyana and Guyanese, we can have a better life. Prosperity is not for you alone. Prosperity shouldn't be for me alone. I don't only want my grandson to have a good education,
Yes.
right? But for all of us. And the focus, Norman, the real focus, this is, you talk about the launching, and as a woman, this is not a movie. This is not a story. This is in our lifetime.
This is real life.
After the 2020 election, I was out there with my kitchen and everything, dealing with the poor and communities and COVID. Find out from how many children. I started share tablets in communities and in homes all over to the poor, just that they could hold on, to, even to get a little education, because nobody was paying attention at those things in the time.
Mm.
You go back in the whole COVID, and with masks, people call me from all over. I buy guns and say, listen, Simona, you got to be careful. You're putting yourself at risk. But here I am. Here I am. Right? Out there all the time with the people. We got to be careful when people homes, they're breaking it down, be it from Mucka to Hillfoot. It's not only showing up, show up, you got to find a kitchen, you got to find food, children got to go to school. Listen, the young girl glasses she couldn't see. You forget in Mucka, when people pigs were being buried. Take them shopping to get school clothes and every single thing, Norman. So it's not just to show up, but you got to show up with your resources. You're exposing your family. Why am I doing it? For better Guyana. I don't want to sit down here and nobody say, Broomes is a hero. She helps people. She built a house for a lady who had snake fall down one. She built a next house and repair old lady house in Keating William Street. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
She was in Barbies and she built a house here. That's not what makes you. That's not what I want. I don't want to be able to do that. Because when you build a house for one person, you got thousands of persons out
You
there.
want people to be able to build their own houses because they get
People
the,
must
the
be
opportunity
able,
to
every
do
guy
that.
needs to live in their
Yeah,
own home. I
and
don't want to
so
give people hampers. It's an insult. Listen, I meet a place that I go and help people and embarrass to expose their lifestyle because of poverty. I went to the home with the
well,
two little girls in school that living in feces. You think because I gotta help them and get them clothes and food, I must expose them because people gonna cry and I gonna look good and
Well,
embarrass them and
you
put
just
that
made a
scorch on them?
serious political statement against a political hopeful. Obviously, they have not formed a political party yet, but
Who is that now?
they're gaining traction in communities. Azruddin Mohammed has been building homes and so on and helping people. You say it's an insult to do that. The people should be able to have the opportunity to build their own home. Let's move on because I know we want to close. You've been here a long time.
But let me make this clear. I never said it's an insult for Asadin Muhammad to build a
No, you
house for
didn't say.
anybody.
You
I
said
never
it's an
said that.
insult.
No,
No,
no, no, no.
you said
I
it's an
said no,
insult
no.
to be doing that, building
I
homes and
said
so.
for me,
For you,
in
yeah.
some cases, when I go to help people, their conditions, it's an
Mm.
insult for me to
Okay,
expose it.
okay, okay,
Because
okay.
I make reference to the two young girls that was living there and still living there with a septic tank exposed. I was there live. We did a video. I didn't want to put their faces outside because when you look, people don't even know what is going on behind the door. So please, I am not hitting at anybody. I
I,
believe
I'm
that the
glad you
system,
clarified that. I'm glad you
hold me,
clarified that. Yeah.
I want the system to be able, with the resources that we have, to ensure that all Guyanese have a home, to
Dr.
ensure that
Brooms
all
here.
of us, some persons want a one bedroom house, some want a two, some want a three. Some people they need nothing much.
Okay.
They want to work and get a salary.
The
Norman,
salary.
we move in.
They need the opportunities. We
They
are a
need
rich
it
country. They need
exactly.
and you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct there. Look, quickly, because we're winding down, I know that you spent more time than you should because you're busy and so on, and I appreciate that. But the conversation is being had. Look, when I advertise this program within an hour, we have more than 2,000 people tuning in here right now in the program. You know, and normally I get that after the program later on and so on. Look, you said a number of things. You said you don't believe in manifestos. I was saying before when I advertised this program like an hour ago and so on, someone called me and said, "Well, Norman, I Broom's got a lot of support because I heard she got a lot of members. I don't know how much members you got. I'm not talking about supporters. The supporters could be in the hundreds of thousands at the moment, but I understand that you've got thousands of members. The person said to me that if Dr. Brooms has thousands of members, if she has a membership of thousands, she may be the
I
third
don't know
party
what
because
thousand.
they don't believe that the AFC has that number of members. And so people are saying that you, and this is quite serious, you could end up, your party, sorry, not you, your party can end up actually being in reality the third party, the force to be reckoned with. The force to be reckoned with. And so and we will keep track of that. We will keep track of the progress of your party. You said you don't believe in manifestos, but I want to ask you this question. You will have to have
Blueprint.
candidates you'll have to have a printed manifesto, of course. Uh, but you'll have to have candidates for the party. You'll have to have a prime ministerial candidate and so on. What sort of candidate would you choose to be your prime ministerial candidate? Will it be a woman? Will it be someone from another ethnicity? Will it be a man? Can you give us an idea there at the moment?
Well, Norman, like I said, I want to clear up something. I said we will not use the word manifesto
Mhm.
because manifesto just come like a promise full of dust somewhere every year, every time there's an election. So we can have a blueprint. We don't have
Okay.
to name it a
Yes,
manifesto.
it's a blue. Yeah, you will give a
Nah,
blueprint.
because everybody out there manifesto. How many manifestos we don't have? Has that
Mm.
changed their life? Has that broken poverty? What the blueprint that we put out there is what we will do. I mentioned that very clear at the launch
Okay,
here.
good, good,
And
good.
we don't have to win presidency to do it. Whatever we put out there that we go in and fight and advocate for, we hold into that,
Yeah, but that
right?
blueprint,
We hold in. We
that blueprint
so
will have to have what
exactly,
you're going to do for housing, agriculture,
definitely
this
every
and that.
single
You
thing,
have to put that together. What
definitely.
about your prime ministerial candidate?
Well, that is something.
I heard you're going for Terence Campbell. or through the
Listen,
grapevine.
Norman Brown, this the ALP movement is not about you going for, it's about we.
Yeah, yeah,
We
but
will sit down,
mm,
we will sit down, and in the best interest of Guyana, we will decide on our running mates and all that. At this time, people join the ALP.
Dr. Simona Broomes here,
We
and
are
you're close.
assembling, we are assembling persons. So Norman, you asked me a question. Let me talk. No, Norman, let me
No,
come
go
down to
ahead,
you,
go ahead,
please.
go ahead, go ahead.
We have our website. Go on the website. It is votealp.com. You could cash up, listen, by dollar, $5, $20, support, put it out there. I'm telling you, you cannot fail if you want that good change. You understand? So we ask your support or your vote because normally you ask instead of question and I then campaign mode. So vote Assembly
Well, you
for
have the
Liberty and
opportunity.
Prosperity. Vote
Yes,
ALP.
yes, yes. Yeah, you got to
Because
throw it
he
out there.
called it
Yeah.
about people. But Norman, yes, on a serious note, we will decide that. It's not a you, me, I thing. Um, we will have our meetings, what is going on behind the scene, everything
Mm,
that we do out there, we do it collectively, we plan. We have our young people, their involvement. They have a voice, they're saying, they're a part of it, they're shaping. And so, because this is something, a mantle that I will hand down to, right? We have to have succession planning. So it's going to be collective.
mm.
You will have our blueprint. We got we blue t-shirt. And so we can
Yeah,
have our
the t-shirt,
blueprint
the
out
t-shirt
there.
circulating.
Yes, but we are not there as yet. But Norman, thanks to you two. And you were asking me a set of questions earlier down. Persons don't know. You were one of the persons who called me all the way from London a long time. Say, listen, you must run. You've been doing the work. You, Norman Brown. Even when it was coming to the party's election, and said, Norman, no, I don't want to get into too much of back and forth wrangling. I want to serve the country. I want to hear from people. I want to serve people. I want to be directed by the poor. What the Lord said to me, that is what I will do. And I mentioned that but I did promise you also that when that time comes, I'll come back to your program because you want me in the program. It's not like I never want to come.
Mm,
But whatever I say, I will do. And then I was not in the position. Everything was not well as clear as now. And I promise, and here I am on your program, and that's why you call me at the last minute. Just shuffle everything right back
right back. Yeah.
um, to be here. All right, to be here on your program like everybody else. And for me, I believe that what you want to do in your intention is not really to fight and to break down, but to build according to the young man, according to us, that oh beautiful Guyana, oh my lovely native land. There's nowhere else in this world that I can go and feel. There's nowhere else I can go and say I pledge myself and put my hands here. I can't do it nowhere else. Here, I took an oath some 4 years in 2015, and I hold the Bible, to serve. I didn't serve for 4 years or 5 years, and that stuck with me, and that is why even I was not in the parliament. I had to. It was my duty. I took that oath to serve the people, and that is why I always make myself available and accessible. I hope that this program and several programs. I mean, the more I come out there, the more persons will come. Um, I was always a person people always come up against, and you got so much of things to say. Of course, certain things you're gonna say, but Tom, don't think you could say but me and loose it, speak loosely and all of that. I understand the politics, but to come to people character with lies and all of that, make sure you have your facts because
Hmm.
I mean, there's a place for that. All right, we have to learn, regardless of what. I ain't gonna come out and cuss out Norman Brown if I don't believe it, Norman Brown. That is okay. But then it's the next thing to come and making all kinds of allegations against Norman Brown. They got nothing to do with politics. We cannot
Politics.
demonstrate as leaders that when we come to talk to our young people, when we come to address this nation, when we come in and address them as what he didn't do, what she didn't do, who wear a Louis Vuitton, who wear a boots. That's where we at as a people. All we coming back to the young people. Is that the legacy we want to hand them? So I'm not out here coming fighting PNC, fighting PPP, fighting this. I'm out here fighting against poverty, fighting against oppression. You know what I'm telling you about here, Norman? Norman, I don't know if you know the smell of poverty, but it's a smell that I hate. I don't know if you know but slavery or ever look at it in its face, but it's something that I can't bear to see. I can't bear to see it in this country. I will not live in this country and sit by and knowing that this is what God is saying to me and my purpose and be fearful or be locked up or to be stepped upon. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stand tall. I'm going to stand tall for all of us, regardless if you like me or not, regardless of your race, regardless of your religion. I'm going to come together. Anything we come out there to do, we're going to come out there to do it, and we can do it in truth.
Dr. Simona
I see some
Broomes,
said me hold me. I noticed a comment that you are fighting this
fighting
one. I
against the
mean,
PNC, but people have a
yeah.
right to their
No,
opinion.
people have a right.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know what I'm doing. And that is to show where our minds are at. Because the same thing we want to label the PPP or the AFC or so forth. It's the same thing you want to do with nobody. I'm a right thinking. You can't put me there. So you can say, you could say it a million times. I am beyond that. I'm beyond that. You understand? I'm beyond that. I would hope that a lot of persons, the same energy,
More
will
than
be
a year
looking to
ago,
fight.
I said to you, I would have loved to see you run for the leadership of the PNC and become the presidential candidate. I think that you would have been able within that time to unify the party. I honestly believe that. And I believe that you could have made a difference as the leader of the major opposition party. You have opted to go in your own direction. I have tremendous respect for that, and I wish you all the best, Dr. Simona Broomes. I think your heart is in the right place. My final question before you tie that into your closing remarks is this. Many people believe that a lot of great minds are leaving the PNC and branching out on their own because of the leadership of the party. Many people were seen on the fringe, but they stayed in the background. They were sidelined, but they did not jump to another political party. They did not do such. Today, people are boldly um, making it clear that they repose no confidence, not in the PNC, but perhaps in the leader of the PNC. How do you respond to that question? And give us your closing remarks.
Norman, my focus is on the ALP and the people of this country. I'm not going to get into what nobody feels that I should. You mentioned that you had asked me about joining. You don't break up with Campbell. I'm not going in. I can't go and fight. I believe in a system that you run and all of that.
Mm,
But I'm happy that you respected me. That listen, I'm not going to go if me and my brother is here and I gotta destroy you because I want to take your house. And I'm not going to be a part of that. That's not who I am,
mm,
right? Because when you do that, I think you take away from what should have been done, which is focus on people and come together and unite and to really move in that direction. So I'm not going to pronounce, I don't want to have interviews and conversations about what and if and who not doing and all of that. I'm not going there. What I can tell you that the ALP, we are here and we'll be the voice for the voiceless. We are here. We'll hold persons accountable. We see what is happening here with corruption. We see what is happening all over the place, right? We look at poverty. I've described some of them to you. You've looked at it on my show. You look at it on my program. You alluded to the fact, right? You alluded to the fact of the work that I've done. So
mm.
for me, I think my energy, my resources, and everything will serve this country and the people at this time with the ALP and the movement. So I ask all to join us. I thank you. I thank all of you for your support. So many persons after the launching signing up, signing up to the website and all over. We're focusing on that. We have to go out there and meet. that boy and that girl who said, "Listen, I'm not going to vote," to say, "Listen, come on, and let's go to the poll." All right, it's a lot of work, but it's work that can be done. We're committed to it, and we're committed to it for the long haul and for that good change. Thank you, Norman, and thanks
We
to all you.
see now, Dr. Brooms, that there's a new look. This new look, I expect thousands of young Guyanese women to have that new look. The new look, the new look.
Which new look?
You look extremely beautiful. I have to say that you look lovely. I love the lipstick. You know, I'm not I'm not going to objectify a woman, especially a strong woman, but you do look remarkably attractive. I want to advise you to keep the good work up. There's a lot of positive energy coming from you. I think you have places to go. Your party has places to go. And I once again thank you very much for being here on Voice of the Diaspora.
Thank you, Norman, and thanks to all of you, your viewers. I must say good afternoon here and good evening to people in London, where you're at this time. Thanks.
Prosperity movement is officially launched.
There's an old friend that I once heard say something that touched my heart, and it began